Okay, let's just go over this example together so you can see how complicated these parallel line theory questions can actually get when they start to involve algebra. But to keep this a little bit simpler for you, I've used different colors to show that the blue line here is parallel to that blue line there, and this black line here is parallel to this black line down here. I also use different colors when I label the angles to show you I already know my parallel line theory rules. For example, C is the same color as 3A, because here you should see that that is a Z pattern. So 3A and C are equal to each other. I also put 2B in red because you might see that from C, 2B and C are vertically opposite each other. They're opposite angles and they're also equal. Also 2B and 3A, you should see there that I've got an F pattern. That makes them corresponding angles, which is what makes them equal. And I put some angles here in green as well. They're not equal to the angles that I put in red, but there should be a rule that you can clearly link the red and green angles with. And looking at these two, which are right next to each other on this black straight line, those are angles on a straight line. So 3A and 6A together should make 180. And my green angles, 6A, should be equal to this other green angle here, 2D plus 20, because that would make an F pattern. It's on its side there. Right? So those are corresponding angles. So using everything I know about these angles and their rules, I should be able to write equations for them so that I can solve them. So I'm going to start with one equation that I can clearly see that uses the same letter. If it's the same letter on the diagram, it represents the same value. So I see that 3A here and 6A, they're not equal to each other, so I won't say that they're equal to each other, but I know they're on a straight line together. So I'm going to write straight line, and what that tells me is that 3A plus 6A, they will equal to 180 degrees. Oops, 180. Let's change that. Okay. Now, simplifying the algebra here, I've already got all the information I need from the diagram. I can just solve this equation. 3A plus 6A is 9A, and that will be equal to 180, which means that A by itself, I need to get rid of that 9. A will be equal to 180 divided by 9. So A must be equal to 20. So I've got A. A is 20, which means that 3A would have to be 3 times that amount. So 3A equals 3 times 20. So 3A, that must be 60 then, right? 3A equals 60. Okay, so I've got A, I've got 3A. Now looking at my diagram over here again, I can see that 3A is the same thing as C. They make a Z pattern. So I already know what C is. I'm just going to go ahead and write that here and explain how I'm doing this. So alternate angles. That makes a Z pattern. So that means that C is equal to 3A. C equals 3A. And I've already worked out 3A, so I can just say that C is equal to, see I've got it down here, so I don't need to do it again, 60. So I've got A, I've got 3A, I've got C, I need to find B, and I need to find D. So let's look at B here now. I know that B is in red here for a reason. Either I could say it's because of the F pattern, it's corresponding with the 3A, or I could say that 2B is vertically opposite the C. They're in a cross across from each other there. So let's go with that one. I think that's going to be the easiest one for me to explain. So I'm going to say vertically opposite. And vertically opposite angles are equal. And I can just say that 2B is vertically opposite C, so 2B equals C. I already know what C is. I found it up here. I don't need to work it out for a second time. I just need to rewrite that as 2B equals 60. So I need to find B. B on its own, getting rid of the 2. B equals 60. It was times by 2, so I'm dividing by 2. B must be equal to 30 then. B equals 30. Okay, I've got A, I've got B, I've got C. I just need to find D. And by putting this in color for you, I'm making it easy for you. You might have to do this for yourself before you get started, but I can see that this is in green and this is in green. I could say that this is equal to 6A because they are corresponding to each other. They're in an F pattern. So I'm going to go ahead and write that over here. Corresponding. And to be clear, that's the F pattern. And 2D plus 60 is equal to 6A. 2D plus 60, or sorry, 20. 2D plus 20 is equal to 6A. Okay. Right now, solving that, I already know what A is. A is 20, so 6A will be 6 times 20. So I'll put 2D plus 20 equals 6. And then in brackets here, I'm substituting the value for A is 20. So now I want to find out what D is. I need to get D on its own and rearrange this. So I'll write 2D is equal to, now I know 6 times 20 is 120. And I had 20 on the other side. I'm bringing it over. It was plus. Now it's minus 20. So 2D must be equal to 100. 2D equals 100, which means D on its own, getting rid of that 2, D equals 100, and I need to, it was multiplied, so I need to divide by 2. D must be equal to 50. D equals 50. Okay. So I've got A is 20, I've got B is 30, I've got C is 60, and I've got D is 50. And that's it, that's me done. So you can see actually knowing the rules for parallel line theory is important, but so is being able to explain your working and set out your algebra. So make sure that you're able to do that before you get started with the next exercise. Okay.